Good day, Dick Gibson here, or Uncle Deke, and what I want to show you is the PT058 housing, Olympus PT058 housing for the Olympus TG5 camera. This camera has to be used in this housing. It won't fit in the last year's housing. It doesn't even come close. The controls are different and the size of the camera is slightly different. So this is the housing for it. This is what's in the box. Of course, a nice big box. Get that out of the way. I think what's funny is the camera didn't have an owner's manual, but the housing does. So there's the owner manual for that. It has a little piece that I use all the time. I'm never without this. This is to get underneath the O-ring to pop it out so you can service the O-ring, which I do every time I take it back to the house after diving. I service the O-ring every single time. These are some desiccant packs that are made to fit in the bottom of the housing underneath the camera to cut down on any condensation from change in temperature that might be in the housing. I use one of those every time. That pack of 5 will last you for a long time. Then in the box is a lanyard for the housing to put around your wrist. You can use it, I suppose, if all you use is this, you don't buy any other attachments, it might be okay. Then there's some O-ring grease in the package to service the O-ring. So it's pretty straightforward and pretty complete. You don't need anything else to service this or to make it work. It's all right there in the box. Good value, good deal. Now, what's different between the PT056 and this, the PT058, is there are 2 controls, this one and this one, that are different. The rest of the housing looks pretty much the same, and you might say, hey, I can get by with using the old one. I put the TG4 in this housing, and the shutter button wouldn't even come close to touching it. So it's the other camera's a little taller and a little thicker, made different. They don't want you to mix the two. So if you buy the camera and you want to get some serious underwater photographs, buy the housing. And again, I want to thank Mosaic Underwater Camera for supplying this equipment for review, and they offer bundles for this with a camera and a housing at a really good price. So check them out, Mosaic Underwater Camera. Okay, so what do these controls do? This controls the GPS marking device. It's not going to work underwater anyhow, so don't worry about that for underwater photography. Then this one controls the little knob that's on top of the camera, right here. This doesn't look like it because it goes up and over. There's a little gear in there that connects with this, and this controls this knob right here. And then this one rubs against this and changes that. Then all of these different buttons connect with these buttons, and this one right here for the video, to turn the video on and off. You have a nice big bright screen, and you can really see what's inside of it very well. Safety latches again, come back. Again, they put in safety latches. Here's first safety latch. You undo, and then you have to hold this up to turn this. When you turn that lines up right here with that notch and lets it open up. So this is what it looks like inside. Again, I service this O-ring every time I use the camera. Not every time, because the battery in these cameras will last 2 or 3 dives. So you don't have to take it apart on the boat, just when you get back to a dry place. Okay, so the camera drops into there. Nice and neat. It's snug, it doesn't move around. Those desiccant packs go right in here underneath there, and they're not in the way of anything. Just gotta make sure you don't get the edge caught right here where the O-ring seals. But it's down in there far enough, it's not in the way. Okay, then you can see how these controls touch up here. You can see how those work. And then this little wheel right here indexes with this. This is rubber, and friction against this makes that go. And then all these pretty crazy little knobs there, the way they got it all figured out. And this one over here is basically just an on-off switch for the GPS. Okay, so we'll close it up. We have to index this back into the lock, and you turn it and it clicks. Then you turn that back down and that locks it. I've never ever worried about accidentally opening this up. Another thing that comes in the housing is the connection for your flash gun. And the flash gun plugs right into this hole right there, and that lets the camera trigger your TTL flash. It also comes with a lens cap, which I keep separate. I don't tie it to this because it'd be floating around in the way. The little gasket on that thing on the front of the lens seals against that glass to keep any outside light getting in. So this is basically the housing and what's included with it. This is a shoe for fastening. For instance, they have a mount where you can put a focus light or even a GoPro on top of this. So you mount just about anything you want on it. And the bottom is compatible with any arm that you're going to find. Now I used an arm that had 2 bolts to hold it on, which worked really good. Then I used another arm, just had 1. No problem, it doesn't slip. So I think you'll enjoy it. Now this shade stays on all the time. You leave it on there all the time to keep so you can see it better, but it comes off in case you would rub up or bump up against something. It comes off, but then it has the string to keep it from floating away, so that's a good thing. And it goes back on real easy. I just put it on the bottom like that and then put it back up over the top, and there we go, it's on there again. Again, this one does the GPS. This does a knob on top. Here's your telephoto wide angle. Once you use what this knob right here will do is let you have change your f-stop in either priority or aperture mode, and it will change the f-stop by way of digital neutral density filters, but it only works in available light mode. It does not work in flash mode. So that's another thing to think about. Camera has amazing large camera options in a very small package. This doesn't weigh much. This thumb grip right here in this hand, you can put 2 strobes on here and all the cords and everything you need and still handle it like this. So it's a good deal. I used last year's camera in a housing just like it, similar to it, and loved it. Now I've got this year's and I can't wait to use this one. So check with Mosaic Underwater Camera and ask me questions if you need to. I love it. You will too. Dick Gibson out.